Well, good morning everybody. Welcome back to the channel. So we are out here at Bass Lake, Indiana, and we're going to start a small drainage project here. We've got the Hyundai 17Z9A. We're going to be using him. We've got the EX60 Hitachi down there, or Furukawa, whatever you want to call it, but it is built by Hitachi. We also got the T870 Bobcat out here. So what we're going to be doing is there is a ditch in this tree line here, and it's a rather good sized ditch. We're going to be starting here. We're going to bring little Richard down here, the EX60, and we're going to grub out some trees here so we can see where we're going. We're going to start here. We're going to bury this culvert here across the road. We've had it located. There is a copper telephone line on this side. It's old copper. There's two lines here we have to deal with. Once we get across here, we're going to cut the road. We're going to dig it out. We're going to put the pipe in. We got to band it together. Once we get to this point, we're going to start digging here in this old existing road ditch, and we're going to come all the way down to this house down here. Now I'll walk down there. I gotta grab the T870 Bobcat, bring it down here. George is getting little Richard right now. We did go through off camera yesterday and we debrushed this. This was pretty nasty. A lot of brush, a lot of sumac trees, vines, all kinds of things like that. And I should have videoed it, but I didn't. I forgot to grab one of my camera mounts, so had no good way of holding the camera. So we're gonna dig on through here. We're gonna probably dig at the base of that utility pole there. The only problem is there is a phone box that's gonna be like in the middle of the ditch, so it's gonna have to curve around behind it. Can't go in front of it because that's where the phone lines come into it, as you can see by the markings. So we're gonna have to dig around behind it. Now, once we get that culvert set down there, that will dictate our grade through here. So we're gonna set that right at the top of the existing water in the ditch right now, if there is any. It's pretty dry, so we'll see what there is. But anyways, this is where we started debrushing yesterday. This was all overgrown. Actually, stuff was hanging over the edge of the road. And we found a chain link fence in there while we were at it. So we'll let George get past and then I'll continue on. All right, when we get down to here, we will have to put a crossing back in here. This one was an old clay, and I actually peeled it out with the grapples on the Bobcat when I was cleaning up brush. It was pretty shallow, and it was full of dirt and leaves and things like that. So from here on up to the house, these are going to be plastic. The one down there will be galvanized because that will be under the county roadway. And like I've stated before, the county requires steel pipe under their roadways due to fire issues. So to give you a little example, what happens, people burn leaves in the ditches, somebody throws a cigarette out, catches a roadside on fire, that pipe will actually cause a draw like a chimney in a house, and it'll suck that fire through, and if it's plastic, it'll actually burn it out underground and it'll collapse. So if they put steel, the only way it's gonna go anywhere is if it rusts out. So I know that's been an issue in several of my videos. People ask, why do we use steel? They're gonna rust out eventually. It's actually because of fire is why we do it. Now, they are coming out with a new coating for steel pipe that is going to resist the corrosion, and I guess it's a new thing that just come out, so we'll probably start to see that coating instead of galvanized. So, all right, I'm gonna grab the Bobcat and we'll get started. All right, so I had talked to the customer and I forgot to add this. Once we get to this part, we're gonna go across here with our 8-inch tile, and we're gonna come up over by that utility post, about in line with that tractor front tire somewhere in there, and we're gonna put a surface drain right there. and that'll drain any water on that side of the house. And then eventually they're going to put tile to the downspouts on those gutters and hook it into our pipe that we're laying through here. So, all right, let's go get started. We're going to try to locate these phone lines. Oh, a little throttle would help. According to the locate guy, they're about 1.6 feet deep. Stuff in this ditch. Let George dig a little bit, see what he comes up with. Well, George has found one of them down there. It's right, about right there. I got a feeling that's going to be about center of our pipe. We'll have to see. It's hoping to be under it, but I doubt it. We gotta find one more if there is one more. Supposedly there's one more. See if we can find it. Okay, so I know I said that the water level in this ditch was going to dictate where this pipe sits. Well, actually what's going to dictate where this pipe sits is where these utilities are on this side. Now, they marked this one here, which is that one, and they said there was two here. Well, the second one is way over here, and guess what? There's a third one right here, and that third one is higher than them two. So what we're going to do is we've took some shots, and it's all going to work out. We're just going to set our pipe at the top, or at the over the top of this one, and that'll determine our grade for the pipe, and that'll determine the grade for the rest of the project. And it's going to work out great because we still have plenty of fall and we still have plenty of cover over our pipe. It'll just be a little shallower than I thought it would be, but that's all right. Now, we could dig under this, shove our pipe under it, but the problem is, if the pipe's just under there, that puts these two midway up our pipe. So we'd have to try to dig and pull them up. Now, if we try to go deep enough to go under these, we will be extremely deep, and that'll be way too deep. That's just not going to work out. So it's just going to be best that we go over the top. So if you did catch it, there was only supposed to be 2 phone lines. There ended up being 3. So that's why even if you call before you dig, you still need to be cautious. And they were a little bit off on where the second and third one was. George moving around the Mini a little bit. There we go. There we go. In the hole where we want it. Well, we got the bucket switched on the EX60. Got this finished up. We're gonna leave that a little high so it'll settle over time, and the county will eventually come back, clean that out a little bit, and then they'll repave a section through here. They'll mill out an area, and then they'll put in new asphalt. Got to touch that up with the Bobcat yet, grade that off some. But now we can start digging. So we got to start here and dig all the way down to there. So I'm going to get started. Alright, we're going to continue on digging this morning. Got to get behind these telephone marker and box. Had to curve around them a little bit. Get that dirt to fall back in the bucket a little bit so it's not going all over the place. The bucket don't quite curl tight enough. Grade or just needs shape a little bit. Probably have to do a little shovel work behind there. I don't want to get too close to the bottom where them wires come in. Fence here that was old. Somebody just smashed it down the bottom of the ditch. straighten the rest of that out with a shovel around that box. Need to straighten the wires going into it. They picked a perfect place to put it. There was an existing road ditch here. It wasn't real deep. Tree root. Air deeper. Too deep. That's all right. I don't want that in a load of dirt. I'm going to set this to the side for now. We're going to reuse some of the dirt that's in the truck now. It's not going to hurt to be a hair deep, because grass is going to grow in this and everything else. More of that wire. It's like the sod has grown through it. skip ahead a little bit. We're waiting on the truck to come back. Dad took it to dump it. We've got a spot where we need some fill dirt, and this dirt was free for the taking. So while he's gone, we're going to start on this first crossing here into this property. I'm going to go ahead and get this dug in while he's gone. It'll be about right there probably where we want to start. Gets back with the truck, we'll just start digging again, and we'll dig up to here. Then we'll continue on the other side. pipe in, we're getting it backfilled. Now this is pretty much muck through here. It's real soft dirt. You try to compact it, it really doesn't compact. So we're just gonna kind of beat it in with the hoe bucket and call it good. And really, this crossing here, all they really cross it with is a lawnmower. They don't really even use it that much. So as long as the floor of the trench is good and firm, it's going to be okay. gas line's farther back. Because how else would it be there?
Well, this is where it's marked.
Well, it can be 3 feet off, we know that.
But it lines up with that.
Well, but how'd they get it through the middle of that phone box? Did they wrap the wires around it when they went up in the phone box? Wouldn't surprise me. You sure that's it? Undo it?
Nope.
Yep, that's it. Is it steel there too? Huh.
No, we gotta really look at that. Side out, then you don't have to hand dig all that as hard as that shit is. Alright, let me switch buckets.
obstruction, the tank. We're going to bow the pipe around it, which we should be able to, as hot as it is out. And that is smooth core, but it is pretty flexible plastic. The trash truck over there is having a little bit of trouble. There was like some long sheets of plywood in a dumpster, and they dumped it in there, and it looks like it's struggling to eat it. Able to make it around that tank with the pipe, and it's not as big a deal as you would think it would be. Just kind of bow it around and go around there. So I've gotten dug up to here, working on getting past this big stump. They're going to have that ground out later. That's an awfully big stump to be trying to dig out right here where it's at. I'd have to try to get in there with the 220 or 270 to get this dug out, and there's not much room to get a hoe that size in here, so they're just going to go ahead and grind that one out. Plus it's in the fence, and they would end up ripping the fence out by the time we dug it out with an excavator. Yeah, it's going to start backfilling some of that. I'm going to keep digging. I really don't have much farther to go, and then we can get out of this hot sun for the day. Alright, I'm going to keep digging. Well, we've got our pipe in. Looks real nice. We've got a T put in that they can tie into rain gutters from over there. They can come across the yard there. Got that T in. So we're going to backfill some of this tonight. And then tomorrow we'll run down to Fratco and we'll get a few more things that we need to finish that out. And we need one more trash basket. Dad's down there putting that one on right now. As you can see, he's going to... There we go. Put the icing on the cake. Alright, I'm gonna hop in the Bobcat and get the rest of this backfilled and leveled out and get their driveway put back together. And then it's almost time to go home. Well, we got this all put back together. Time to go home for the day. We're gonna come tomorrow and clean some of this up. And then we're going to go back to our project for the storage buildings. And then the customer will be back from his trip to Florida, and when he gets back, he's going to get a bunch of stone. We're going to come out here and we're going to put a bunch of stone down and kind of make that area a parking lot over there. Yeah, we'll finish around this tomorrow. We got to get some stone and put around that also. So, all right, I'm heading home for the day. So thank you for watching. Greatly appreciate it. We'll see you all in the next one, and I'll make a video when we finish this up. So have a good evening.